Welcome back to the Huddle on HighStreet. We have week 2 of the OSU 2024 football season, where I'm kind of going to recap this game against Western Michigan that we just saw about 2 days ago. I've had some time to dissect the tape, really get into it. But the first thing that I wanted to start this off with is this clip right here of Jeremiah Smith. And just look as 6 guys are chasing this guy. They're chasing him. You can't put together a better clip of somebody that is just breaking away from expectation, from the competition, from where he should be at his age, from what we've seen before. There's serious Heisman buzz around this guy. 8 catches, 119 yards, TD. That's 3 touchdowns already in 2 games. And it's his first 2 games ever. First night game, how about the second touchdown of the game? Just an unbelievable play from there. And I just think that's the thing. If there's one key takeaway that we'll remember from this game, it will be that play. That play will be probably remembered for a long time, hopefully many more to come. But I did want to point that out. But overall, I thought they played a great game. I thought Ohio State played a great game. Now, if we look at the AP poll now, they've been moved down to what is number 3. And I get why they did it. Georgia has a lot of stuff to back them up. They're a really sound team all the way around. You could say interior wise, they're a more put together team than us. We have issues on the O line that do need to improve. We do need to improve upon. But I think at Ohio State, I think, it's going to be a slow burn to get that O line together. That's why Georgia, I think, at the time being, it's all right to put them a hair ahead of us, even though they played a game against, I don't even know, Tennessee Tech, some ridiculous FCS school, which shouldn't be happening, but let them live, right? But Texas, I understand why you move them up to 2. We're better than Texas in my mind, but they have a more quality win than us right now. So not too much to look into the AP poll. And I just thought it was a really great game overall. Emeka Ibuka had about 100 yards receiving, 98, 5 receptions. It was really good. Will Howard nearly passed for 300 yards, started like 11 for 11 in the game. And I think, what I like about him, and I think he's a far better quarterback than McCord. He missed like 1 or 2 throws, which, I mean, it happens. It happens in these big games. Well, this wasn't a big, but it happens in games where you just miss throws occasionally. It happens. And he missed like one, 2, or 3, somewhere in that range. But the guy can play. His ability to escape the pocket when it breaks down. And people don't understand how big that is when your O-line's a little shaky. You need a guy that's going to be able to get out of that pocket and expand plays. McCord couldn't do that at all. McCord, sack taker. He's gonna, if there's pressure back there, it's over. With Will Howard, and you saw it within the rushing touchdown that he had, he's able to extend plays. That's gonna against these big teams like a Penn State, like a Michigan, like a Oregon that we're gonna see soon, like a Georgia in the playoff. That's gonna be a huge difference maker in those games. So I thought he played really well. Defensively wise, I thought it was a good game. I think that the targeting call, you get Denzel Burke, who's really the leader of that defense. He was ejected early in the first quarter. And I honestly think that rule, I should say, it's a little out of play. It's a little out of play for my liking, where you're in a position where you have a player out for an entire game. I think that what you should do there is give a warning. And if they treat it like a technical foul in the NBA. Like, if you do it once, give them the 15-yard penalty, give them a warning. Then if they do it again, kick them out of the game. These games are too short. These players some of them have 12 games. That's it, to show off their skill set to get to the next level. 12 games. And sometimes they're doing this by mistake. They're making sometimes it's not intentional at all. Like, you could do that too. You could upgrade it to, like, a targeting 1 or a targeting 2. Treat it like NBA technical foul because to kick somebody out sometimes on a mistake of a game, these are big games for these players that they need some players, like, if you're, like, like, what's a bad team out there, like a Northwestern, you might only get 12 games, and if you're getting ejected, it's just taken away from time. If it's a dirty play, make it like a targeting 2 or something like that. But, yeah, so that was kinda ridiculous, but the good news is it's not a big game. It's not a huge atmospheric game like an Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, etcetera. So, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I thought they played pretty well. I thought overall, Jack Sawyer, he's really locked in my opinion. Kind of a shakier start, I would say, and then really just has focused up. Caleb Downs showed out today. It was really a show out game for a lot of these guys. I'm gonna get to Judkins in a second on the offensive side, but Caleb Downs had a few plays where it's like, okay, that's why he was so hyped. That's the guy that we saw at Alabama. So he's coming in, and I think a lot of it for these newer guys, I think there's a lot of intimidation to playing at the shoe. It's a big crowd. It's a big fan base. It's like you're playing in the NFL. I was really thinking about when I was watching it. I was like, this is a pro team. It's a pro team in a lot of ways, especially in the state of Ohio where you just don't have a lot to hang your hat on within football wise. The Browns have been, other than the past couple of years, irrelevant for decades. The Bengals did go to a Super Bowl, but aside from that, it's not they haven't won one. They're no traditional powerhouse. This really is the premier team in Ohio. It's a big deal. Football is huge in Ohio, and you realize kind of. I think the players realize who come in here like it's bigger than football. It's more than a game. It is more than a game when you're playing at OSU. So I think some of the nerves got to some of the people early in these games. But if yeah, like I said, and I said the one play that will be remembered throughout this game will be the Jeremiah Smith touchdown. Also, what could be remembered, maybe it was the showcase game of the transfers and the newer guys because on the offensive side, Judkins, what a game. What a game from Judkins. There was one 80-yard-ish touchdown that they wiped off the board because there was like a hold that happened like somewhat away from the play. It would have been ridiculous all over Sports Center. Would have been a great play. It's just like the bursts that this guy has. If you get him in any a bit of open field, it's over. And you could say the same with Travion Henderson, but Judkins just has a different stride to him, a different gear to the next level. Like Travion has it too, and I think Travion has it more in a straight up vertical. Judkins works like a side to side game that like is just rare, just really rare, and he really showed that off in this game. Like that pitch, it's like you give him like that a little extended pitch for the play that got called back. It's like you give him like a few feet of room, and he was just gone. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this team. And like I said, in games like this, there's not a lot to pick apart because, like I said, you're playing in a game where it's and at the same time, this is a team that had Wisconsin dead to rights pretty much, almost beat them. But we'll see. We'll see what happens from now on. You have the bye week. Expect similar things in the Marshall game. Marshall game will probably get to like, gosh, I would say they'll probably hang up 60 against Marshall. I don't think Marshall scores on them. Maybe a touchdown, maybe a field goal, something like that. But the real test is going to be that Oregon game that's coming up soon, and we'll really see what we have. And Oregon doesn't look too good. Oregon doesn't look that almost losing to Boise State, the Idaho 24-14. I don't know what's going on with Oregon, but that's going to be the first where we really see, okay, what is this team made of? And then you have a difficult stretch where you have Nebraska, and a lot of other teams that are looking a little bit better than what we thought. But as of right now, 2 games through, I'm pretty darn satisfied with how Ohio State's played. They're looking pretty good. A team with all the swagger in the world and all the talent in the world, all the expectation in the world. And like I said, right now, I got to put them at number 2. Talent wise, number 1 without question. Number 2, just because got to get a little bit stronger in the trenches. That O line needs to develop a little bit more, just a little bit more to beat Georgia. But lined up head to head in a game, I don't think anybody other than Georgia and Texas can compete with them, and I don't think it's relatively close with any team other than Georgia and Texas. So I'm excited to see it. Didn't do week 1 because I was fighting some illnesses, but gonna be doing a reaction to these games as it goes through. Obviously, we'll take next week off because of the bye week, but I saw a lot of good things from the game. One more thing to note, I thought that the reps that I saw from Devin Brown, and I know, mind you, they're in garbage hours, but he went 5 for 5, had a good drive. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good from what I saw. The best I've seen of him so far. And then Sayan comes in, throws a touchdown. And it looks like Sayan's the third string. And I really do think if it's not to be Devin Brown, I think Julian Sayan should play next year. And that was a little glimpse. And he scored a touchdown. So we'll see how that develops. But I like this team. I think this will go down as like an all-timer for me, just memory-wise. But like I said, we're gonna go into the bye, and then we got the big game. Well, the probably murder of a game against Marshall, and then we really get rolling. I'm excited.